Kapil doesn't need any introduction. Uh, you know him, lawyer, minister for many things. And usually you find him being given the more problematic things. So when stuff hits the fan on telecom, call Kapil Sibal. When you've tried everybody out on law and all wickets are down, Kapil Sibal. In the middle of all this, he also finds time for poetry. And if I may tell you, very serious poetry. And he's also cut a disc now. We're going to cut a disc now. So we thought that since, I'm dealing with somebody who's political, who's also a legal mind, and who's also now a formidable creative personality, I should try and restore the balance a little bit here. So we have Vishal Bhardwaj. All of you know him. He makes most wonderfully creative cinema, but he also writes. He's also a lyricist. He also sings. What was that from Omkara?
O Sathi.
Oh, Sathire. So, wonderfully talented, creative person. But more importantly, I can tell you something. He has brilliant understanding of politics. Because if you see his cinema, you know for the first time I can say I'm watching movies made by somebody who knows Hindi heartland and who knows the politics of Hindi heartland. In fact, he knows the nuances of the politics of Hindi heartland much better than most of us journalists. So, I could have been facetious to say that his knowledge of politics is much better than my knowledge of poetry. But that would be understating his skills in that area because I'm a Philistine. My knowledge of poetry is very poor, as Gulzar Saab sitting here will confirm to you. We had a conversation some time back. बहुत homework करने के बाद में. So, we'll not take more time, Kapil. This is an audience in Bombay. Just tell them just how screwed up is the government in Delhi. And is there a hope?
Well, let me start by saying that there is no country in the world as difficult to govern as India. There is no country in the world as complex as India. What fits the Northeast doesn't fit Mumbai. What fits Mumbai doesn't fit Punjab. What fits Punjab doesn't fit Madhya Pradesh. And with caste politics, religion thrown in, within castes, there are battles. You have the backward, the more backward, and the most backward, and you get buffeted around. States enjoy enormous power, and they do what they like because there are no coalition governments in states, so they do what they like. You want to take them on board, they don't come on board. The polity is fractured. There is no meeting ground. The president talked about the 3 Ds the other day. He said parliament is meant for debate, discussion, and decision. And all that parliament does is adopt the 4th D, which is disruption. Right? So you have disruption in parliament. You don't have an institution that has a vision for India. Even if a political party has a vision for India, nobody is willing to talk about it and share it. Nobody is willing to say, okay, on these fundamentals for economic progress, we should be together. Now, take education. Now, what's the problem with education? We all need quality institutions. We all need more institutions. We all need a lot of R&D. And there's no conflict between the state and the center on this, and there shouldn't be any conflict between political parties on this. And yet we cannot pass simple bills in parliament. The Accreditation Authority Bill, which will ensure that every institution must be accredited for quality, won't let it be passed. We need investment in education, huge investment in education. I'll just give you a small figure. we have 200 million children going to school. Actually 220. In 2009, when I became Minister for HRD for the first time, the gross enrollment ratio, that is the number of children going to university in the age group of 18 to 24, was 12.4%. The global average is 28%. And in the developed economies, not less than 40 and above. Now, how can a nation move forward if out of 100 children in that age group, only 13 children reach college?